Welcome to Doug in Exile. There's new details coming out about the Afghani shooter of our National Guard members and Trump's response. And this is kind of the response of good versus evil. So welcome to Doug in Exile as we explore the good versus evil and why I'm saying that. Number one, we're in good hands. I'm always looking for kind of the upside of things and to try and see if everyone's panic is justified, which it's not, because evil still exists, but people are still mitigating it and fighting it, and it actually takes a while to fight it. That's one of my major themes on my show, is some things take a while. So here's Roby Starbuck with a quote from the shooter. This is the shooter's words. He said, "Today's the day, you effing dumbass white people," was what he said before he shot the two ICE agents. And it goes to show how we are, because our country is good, and I would say so good that we're naive, this kind of rhetoric happens. And I think we're called racist if you do something about it. We're going to go into Trump's response. He's ending all immigration for now until further notice. He says, this is what was said right before shooting at the police. Importing people who hate your citizens is treason and should be treated as much, says Roby Starbuck. Just like the guy who shot the National Guard this week. This never should have been here. These are people shooting at the police. This comes right after Democrats have encouraged our military to disobey orders, claiming that they're unlawful. Now, this one is going to get a little bit disturbing, so I don't want to bug you guys too much, but this is Debbie Wasserman Schultz blaming Trump, and this is kind of what happens when your police shot at, when ICE agents are shot at, when the National Guard are shot at. There's always some naive idiot that implies that it's your fault. Meaning like, what did we do to make him do this? That's called blaming the victim, which Democrats do all the time. Listen to this.
Would an individual have flown across the country to target law enforcement officers in Washington, D.C.? And I mean, the answer is likely no. So why wasn't the president's first thought, wow, maybe I should reconsider deploying military troops in the nation's capital or in any city, particularly not when they haven't coordinated closely with the leadership of these cities?
So that's her blaming us. It was very weird also that she said, especially not coordinating with the cities, like Chicago, and bringing our police forces in, as if consulting with them, and if they gave us permission, would the guys have not flown across the country to shot innocent people? This is absolutely disgusting behavior. It's why you never put an X to a Democrat. I always follow it up with are you crazy? Do you want people killed? And do you want them, if you are killed, to blame you, the victim? Now, here's the response. This is Homeland Security. One of the things they posted is that they're looking for people to join the fight. The fight for Western civilization, true, is just getting started. We're not at the end, guys. We're at the beginning. Join the fight. And they have these links for you to, I got my sons are on both sides of me here. And of course, they're welcome to join these too. Join ICE.government, join justice.government, the USCIS.government, and the CBP.government under careers. This is Trump encouraging people to join the fight. Even as we've progressed technologically, immigration policy has eroded those gains and living conditions for many. I will permanently pause migration from all third world countries, which is all of them but us, to allow the U.S. system to fully recover, terminate all of the millions of Biden illegal admissions, including those signed by Sleepy Joe Biden's auto pen, and remove anyone who is not a net asset to the United States or is incapable of loving our country, end all federal benefits and subsidies to non-citizens to our country. You guys can tell me in the chat below if you support this or not. Is this too draconian and too mean? Is this unfair? Is this not America? Or is this what facts on the ground call for right now? Denaturalize migrants who undermine domestic tranquility and deport any foreign national who is a public charge, security risk, or non-compatible to Western civilization. By the way, our founders, they always say like, no, religious litmus test. But our founders, you had to believe in a heaven or hell to take a public office in some states. Some of them went as far as to say you didn't have to be a Christian, but you had to believe in justice in the afterlife. That starts to tell you that they didn't want someone who had no moral foundation to them to be holding public office. These goals will be pursued with the aim to achieve a major reduction in illegal and disruptive populations, including those admitted through an unauthorized and illegal auto pen approval process. Only reverse migration, which is unmigrating these people out of America, can fully cure the situation. Other than that, happy Thanksgiving to all, except those that hate, steal, murder, and destroy everything that America stands for. You won't be here for long. Let me know in the chat below if you support this. Here's the White House again. Quote, I will permanently pause migration from all third world countries. That's Trump repeating it again down here. He says only reverse migration can fully cure this situation. That's the longer form of that quote that I showed you. Now here's Trump with other countries, because this is a global problem. It's not just here. And they always say that like presidents in their final term, the last 4 years, they try to do a little more international work to leave a mark to help the world. This is Trump's help. He says democracy's on trial in the coming elections in this beautiful country of Honduras on November 30th. Will Maduro and his narco-terrorists take over another country like they've taken over Cuba, Nicaragua, and Venezuela? The man who's standing up for democracy and fighting against Maduro is Tito Asfura, the presidential candidate of the National Party. Tito was the highly successful mayor of Tegucigalpa, where I want to hear Trump say that, where he brought running water to millions and paved hundreds of kilometers of roads. His chief opponent is Rixi Moncada, who says Fidel Castro is her idol. Wow, that sounds like America too. So we're going for this pro-freedom, pro-Western civilization candidate, Tito Asfura. I just wanted to say for those of you who are, there's a lot of people that are isolationists and it's like, other countries can go to heck. No, this war against evil is global, against socialism, against the Islamic scourge, against Marxism, against the big state versus freedom of the people. It's worldwide, guys, and there's patriots in all these countries. Here's Nick Sorter with a clip. It says, just in to blow the experts, President tariffs in a blow to the experts brought in a record $33 billion in the month of October alone. And leftists are trying to zero that out, of course, keep the money flowing. They're going to try to say that, they were saying tariffs wouldn't work. They brought in $33 billion. Lo and behold, the experts were wrong.
President Trump says that he relied on his tariff policies to make all of this happen. In October, tariffs brought in $33 billion. That's a 316% increase from October of 2024. Now, That's all you need to know. A huge increase even from Trump's own numbers. Now here's more. Zelensky is done. Anti-corruption authorities raided Zelensky's offices in Kyiv, along with his right-hand man, the chief of staff of President Andriy Yermak, is often seen as Ukraine's second most powerful man. Peace is imminent between Russia and Ukraine. And the problem is Ukraine's going to get thrown under the bus. It's not a problem, but this is part of how you undermine Zelensky, is that you show that he really is a corrupt guy. So his leadership is losing steam.
The U.S. and Russia, which are preparing for more high-stakes talks on the war in Ukraine, an anti-corruption scandal has broken wide open involving a close aide to Ukraine's President Zelensky. Our chief foreign correspondent, Ian Pannell, has the latest from eastern Ukraine. Good morning, Ian.
Yeah, good morning, Rebecca. That's right. Anti-corruption investigators raiding the home and offices of Andriy Yermak. He's the head of President Zelensky's office. He's also a hugely powerful, influential and divisive figure in Ukraine. He is, in effect, Zelensky's right-hand man, and he's leading negotiations with the US in these peace talks. Ukraine has been consumed, as you say, by this massive corruption scandal in the energy sector that's implicated a former close business partner of Zelensky and seen the resignation resignation of 2 government ministers. And honestly, the timing couldn't be worse, because you have senior US officials heading to Moscow and to Kyiv in the next few days as part of this push by President Trump to get a deal to end the war. In an interview published Thursday, Yermak actually ruled out conceding any Ukrainian territory in talks, and in a hardline speech, Vladimir Putin overnight ruling out a ceasefire unless Ukrainian forces withdraw, and saying it's pointless signing anything with Zelensky because he lacks legitimacy. And of course, all of this leaves the chances of a rapid end to this war looking remote.
Looking remote. But I don't put it past Trump and Marco Rubio and J.D. Vance with being able to end this thing. It just took a lot longer than Trump thought it would. He thought it would take a day or so, and it took a lot longer than that. You can't end a war, but Zelensky's done. You know, and Putin calls him illegitimate. He is illegitimate. He ended democracy in his country. Here's Jeanine Pirro on those scumbags that are walking around on the streets, criminals. She has a warning for all of you.
Let me say one more thing, and it's not about this case. It's about vetting in general. The nonsense that the left gave us with this Operation Welcome Allies. Look, there was no vetting. If you think there was vetting, I have a bridge to sell you. If you saw the chaos that was going on at that airport in Kabul, in Afghanistan, it was typical of what was going on in the Biden administration. And the Pentagon, I believe it was Kirby and people in the Biden administration, said the Afghan withdrawal that we all know was disastrous was a success. And that's a quote. They called that a success. That chaos is not a success. That is a nightmare. And
these were all people that were hanging on the wheels, remember, and they were falling from the plane. That's what they called a success. This is somewhat of the blame game of why this Afghani was here to shoot people. And to me, that's very secondary, because primarily he was here because of Biden's loose on immigration. Kash Patel has also come out and just said they flat out didn't vet anyone. So the idea that they're going, we vetted him and then Trump re-vetted him. Our vetting for 11 million illegals that are here is going to be terrible at best. You can't vet 11 million people that are here. Trump says as much as 20 million people here. So I don't want to hear the blame game from the Biden administration, and Mayorkas shouldn't even be walking around free. I don't know why they're not going after him. Here's Donald Trump Jr. with a little bit of truth. I'm going to have to edit him a little bit because of his language, but this is the future of the country, guys, the youth. He says, give me an effing break. The rhinos at the Wall Street Journal, which is supposed to be Republican, of course, but it's a bunch of rhinos. The rhinos at the Wall Street Journal editorial board want us to be flooded with millions of America-hating migrants who don't share our values. I'm going to also add a comment that this was Marjorie Taylor Greene was saying that you can't remove these illegals either because she needs them for a workforce. And Trump just gave earlier in this episode, in those texts, in those posts, that he doesn't just want to work here. You have to love the country. You have to believe in freedom. You can't be a criminal. And see, I never even heard Marjorie Taylor Greene say about her own workforces that she wanted these illegals to stay here. So Donald Trump Jr. is announcing what the future is going to be. This is a good reminder that it's not just Democrats responsible for this. True. It's the globalist rhinos too. I don't know if you even call Marjorie Taylor Greene that. Whatever, she may not be a globalist rhino, but she acts like one. Here's Dave Brown, Wall Street Journal editorial. Afghan refugees, quote, shouldn't be blamed for the violent act of one man. And I'm going to ask you guys in the chat, why assume all Afghani illegals and refugees that are here are innocent when we don't have any proof? We haven't vetted them. We haven't asked them, do you love the country? Do you believe in the Constitution? Do you believe in, will you allow Christians to flourish in your neighborhoods and in your cities if you were in control? Collective punishment of Afghans in the U.S. won't make America safer. And this is another false dichotomy. It's a false setup when they give you the most extreme act and pretend like that's what we're pushing. Trump is not pushing for this. Collective punishment of all Afghans? No. But admitting that all illegals and all aliens that came here and refugees, we know that many of them said, oh, I'm being oppressed by my country, so they just got to automatically come in. They were allowed to lie. They didn't check out any of their stories for, 11 million illegals. And it might embitter more against the United States. And now that's another, remember how I said at the opening of the show, blaming the victim, blaming us. What did we do to cause them to hate us? Like if we go in and punish Afghans, which we're not going to punish punish them. We're going to simply vet them. And vetting them is not punishment, you moron. In fact, how dare you, Wall Street Journal? And they say that embitter more against the United States. So if they act out in violence, it's because we tried to vet them. That's the rhinos at the Wall Street Journal. And Trump Jr., it's great that he is pushing back, even with a little salty language. That's Trump. That's every New Yorker. But I just wanted to show you guys that there is a pushback on all this. Trump is trying to fix what is a colossally huge problem that he didn't start. The amount of work it's going to be all this 24/7 for the next year or two. It's going to be the rhinos, the people that want their illegal workforce here, which is going to be some globalists and some people that believe in business and money and economy over the safety and freedom of Americans. They're going to fight and say, if we vet them, we're embittering them, we're making them worse. And if they shoot us and attack us, it's because we deserve it. We're racist and we're white and we're pro-America is what they're implying. And they've always implied that. And I resent that implication. It's not true. We have to vet people. We have to prevent the next attack. If there is another attack, we have to have done everything that we can to have stopped it preemptively. And that does not mean that you just allow these masses of people living in the shadows, unpoliced and unvetted. That is not America, and it needs to stop being America from here forward. If you agree, give us a subscribe. More videos to come. I'm Doug in Exile.